Good afternoon. Hi, Miss Jackie. Good talking to you, Mary, today. Did you get your blocks stitched up? Flying solo today. Little short-handed this weekend. Christine is out, Patrick is out, Cindy is off, Matt is in Littleton, so we're kind of running on a small crew. So I am going to try to do this all by my lonesome, but I've got a fun project for you. Oh, thank you, Miss Nancy. I put a kit in the transfer bin this morning for you. I think it was the rag quilt. Hi, Miss Birdie. I see you signed up for that event. Thanks for joining, everybody. So I did find Patrick's joke book, and now I put it down somewhere and I've misplaced it. Gail, I'm glad you enjoyed the Viking Club. Thank you. Okay. Oh, Paula found it. Okay, so I think we will go ahead. Of course you did. I think we'll go ahead and get started. So thank you everybody for joining us. I've got a lot of stuff to show you today, so hopefully you'll like it. First of all, we do have a giveaway. This was donated to us, but look how cute this is. This is using decorative stitches, and then it is obviously a zipper in the hoop done. And this is going to go to Miss Amy Ranches. Miss Amy Ranches. So that we are going to set aside. Hopefully we have time to go over everything that I want to go over. I've kind of got a bonus project for you. So after we finish today's project, don't all disappear, because I have a little bonus project to show you what I did with my scraps. Okay, let's see. I've got a really quick and easy joke. Why did the bee get married? Because he found his honey. Pretty cute. Okay, so today's project is, I'm on a Valentine run right now. Everything I'm doing is Valentine. You thought today was Saturday? Nope, Miss Gisela, it's only Friday. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera around because my quilt is on the floor and I want to show it to you. So here is the project that we are doing today. Obviously, we are not stitching all of that out, but I think you'll get the idea. This is using the Maywood Studio brand new Kimberbell line that is called Sweet Shop. And there is, I think, about 25 bolts in the collection. This particular project uses 13 of them, and background and binding. So 13 of them, and then background and binding. It actually went together so quickly. And then I don't know how well you can see it. Maybe if I turn it over you can see it better, but nope, you're not gonna be able to see it better. I did clear blue tiles quilting on it. So not edge to edge, which I always do edge to edge, but I did clear blue quilting tiles on it. Okay, so let's talk about how this goes together. First of all, I'm gonna switch this back around so you can see me. So first of all, most importantly, it's a free pattern from Maywood Studios. It is using the Kimberbell line, which is the Sweet Shoppe line, which is the same line that they are using for their brand new bench pillow series. The finished size on this quilt is 55 by 55. Now, if I miss a question, please ask again, because I don't have anybody else helping me. So if I miss a question, please just ask again. It's not that I am choosing to not answer it. It's probably because I didn't see it. And these are the fabrics that it uses. So it has a nice selection. It's got some of the teals, it's got the darker red, the light pinks, it's got some white with the background. And my new favorite fabric is the jelly bean, the jelly baby. Can you turn off the radio, please? Is the jelly bean fabric. So I'll show that to you here in just a moment, but it is super cute, and it actually comes in a couple of different backgrounds. Birdie, yours? Let me have Amanda check. I know that, yes, they got finished up this week. We were waiting on one fabric, and it did come in, and I'm pretty sure it went down to Littleton. So, hey, Amanda? Sorry. Can you double check, please, whether Birdie's DDE package went down to Littleton?
Yeah.
Thank you. Amanda's going to check for you, Birdie, and we will let you know here. Okay, so let's talk. No, we did not use SF101 on the back on the Hyperion quilt because it's just traditional quilting. There is no applique on it, so you really don't need to. There's no applique, there's no embroidery, it's just regular piecing. Okay, so let's take a look at the fabric requirements. It is going to tell us that we are going to need 13 different fat quarters. Each one of those fat quarters will be cut just a little bit different, depending whether the fabric is used in the outside border or not. Your background fabric is 2 yards, and then we have 5/8 of a yard, and that is going to be for, it's actually this fabric right here, and that's what joins together to create the little squares, and it's also your binding fabric, and then we also have backing. So let me talk to you a little bit, because we do have a complete kit for you. So the complete kit will include all 13 of your fat quarters that you need. It does include, and this is the little, it probably just looks like solid white here, but it is the white with the mini white polka dot. And then it also includes your fabric for your binding. And the fabric kit is $70.50. And that is with the fabric being priced at the $11.99 a yard. So that is your fabric kit for the quilt top. And then this is the fabric that I chose for my backing. It's actually the one that's kind of got that aqua background with all of the fun little small things on it. And the backing kit is $29.99. So $29.99 for the backing, and then the quilt top fabric is $70.50. Okay. I am going to turn the camera around. Okay, so when we print off the directions, it tells you from fabrics 1 to 13, that is all of your fat quarters, you are going to cut 3 5.5-inch squares. These are going to be your A squares. If you have your alpha clippers, make sure you use them. And then out of fabrics 1, 2, 3, and 12, you will cut, in addition to the 5.5-inch squares, you will also cut some rectangles. And then in addition, again, fabrics 4, 8, and 13, you will also cut rectangles. And then out of fabrics 7 and 10, you will also cut a bigger rectangle. Okay? When you print this off, it will give you a page sheet and it will tell you, this is fabric 1, this is fabric 2. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you follow along with this color chart and keep the colors according to the fabric number, because when we start looking at the layout, there is different cornerstones on different units, and that is probably the biggest challenge with this quilt. The actual stitching of it is very, very easy. Keeping it organized and knowing which units get a cornerstone or a corner triangle and which ones don't is the hardest part of the quilt. The next comment sold will be next Friday, Diane. Next Friday. And Birdie Shelley is down in Littleton today, and she must be watching, and she did just confirm that your kit is down there. I know that I put it together last Saturday, so I was pretty sure it was. Okay, so let's take a look. Out of each of the fat quarters, you are going to cut 3 5.5-inch squares. Shelley just responded, thank you.
Okay, then I have the
Okay, the first thing we are going to do is we are going to stitch a 2.5-inch square to 2 sides of my 5.5-inch square. And you can mark these with a Frixion pen. So you can mark these across on the diagonal, and then you will stitch on the line. Or you can use your laser if you have a laser. So I'm going to stitch along both of these on one side. Thanks for responding to that, Birdie. No, this is a 3 pattern. If you go to our website, you will be able to get the pattern from our website. You're going to repeat this for block number 2. You do not do it for the 3rd block. So you're going to repeat what I just did for 2 of the blocks. And you gotta love 3 patterns, right? Okay, once you've done that, we are going to add a quarter, and you could do this with a rotary cutter. Okay, remember I said I've got a bonus project for all of our little bits and pieces. Do not throw this away. Keep it. I'm going to put mine up on top of the machine because time permitting, I'm going to show you a bonus project. Okay, so 2 of the blocks are going to look just like this, and I'm now going to press these open.
the
Okay, so out of each of your 13 fat quarters, you're going to have one that you don't stitch anything on, and then you're going to have two that you stitch your corners onto. We're going to set this aside for just a moment. Okay, now we have a 5.5 inch square of your white, and we have a 2 inch square of our little pink heart fabric. We're going to put this into one of the corners, and then we're going to stitch along that diagonal. We're going to add a quarter. We're going to save this, and we're going to press this open. Okay, let's go back to the directions. Peggy, are you talking about the twister bag? If you are, no, we do not need to use SF101 on that. Okay, so from each of the 13 fat quarters, you are going to make two that have the corners on them, and then you will end up with a third 5.5 inch square out of each one of the fabrics that you don't do anything to. So what I just did with my fat quarter fabric is 2 and 1. You're going to repeat that for all 13 fabrics. Then you are going to have 5.5 inch squares, and only some of them, not all of them. So you are going to make 10 of them that have these on them. So 10 of them will have this corner on it, just one corner. The rest of them will not have the corner on, and you want to leave them solid. So they'll be just a plain 5.5 inch white square, no pink corner. Okay, so that takes us up to here. Then we have our set in triangles. So our set in triangle was a 12 3/4 inch triangle that was cut on the diagonal. So here is my 12 3/4 inch square cut on the one diagonal, so I end up with two large triangles. You also will take a square and cut it on both diagonals, and that's going to be your cornerstones, but we'll talk about those ones in just a minute. So on these large set-in triangles, we have a right angle, right? We have a right angle corner. You want right side facing you. You're going to take a pink square, and you are going to stitch across the corner. Every set-in triangle will have a pink square put on the corner.
I just walked across the street filming it. Yeah. Well, that's what everybody's saying.
And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to cut off, save our scraps, press open. Cut off and press open. So I'm going to press both of these.
I think that one I'm only gonna do half yard. Half yard of this? Okay. Just gonna have my auntie a little bag for her some turkey burgers.
Okay, and those ones are going to get set aside. Now your 4 corner triangles, I'm going to show you the layout here. Your 4 corner triangles, which is this one, this one, this one, and this one, do not have the pink corner on them. This quilt is put together on the diagonal. So these are done in diagonal rows. We will stitch these together in diagonal rows. Okay. So we've got the set in triangles done. The next thing we're going to work with is going to be the strips that get surrounded around the heart. And this is really where it gets a little confusing. So when we look at our heart blocks, we will have a short strip and we will have a longer strip. Out of the short strip, you may or may not attach a pink corner. So this is telling me that on my short strip, which is this one, I'm going to attach a pink corner in the bottom right corner, right here. When I go to my long strip, it tells me that I need to make 2 with a pink corner in the bottom left.
I saw this little guy right here that I see the pattern.
So we're going to make 2 of the longer ones with it in the left. But we're also going to make some of the longer ones with the triangle in the bottom right. And we're also going to make some of the longer ones with a triangle on both sides. So you really need to pay attention to how many to make with which corners. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. So 10 short ones in the far right. Some short ones won't have a pink on them. Some long ones won't have a pink. Some long ones will have a pink on the left. Some will have a pink on the right, and some will have a pink on both sides. So make sure you're paying attention to how many of each combination you need. So for today's one, I probably should look at my diagram. So for the block that I'm creating with you, on the short one, I need a pink in the bottom right. And then on my long one, I actually need one on both corners. And we're going to do the same with these. We're going to add a quarter and press open. Don't throw any of your scraps away. Keep them all. Okay, I'm going to press these open real quick. In a minute, you're going to know why I tell you to pay close attention and to, if you can, possibly use the same fabrics that they're using, because the next part is where it can get a little bit confusing. Barbara, I'm glad you're on here. We've been trying to get a hold of you. We left another message for you today. If you would kindly give us a call. We got a big bag to come your way. And haven't been able to get through to you. Don't think I have missed any other comments. Okay.
Is that Barbara Atwell?
It is.
I just talked to her.
Oh, apparently we just talked to you. See what I know. Okay, so now we're going to look at all of our bits and pieces, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is put our heart block together. So our heart block goes together with the one with the two corners on the left side. Uh-oh, did I miss a piece? I thought I had everything ready to go, and now I've got one piece of fabric missing. Hey, Paula?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't miss it.
You got it?
I got it.
Okay.
Okay. And then the one to the right is a white, but it could be a white with a pink square, or it could be a white without a pink square. And that's what you need to watch. So we're going to stitch these two together, and then underneath it's going to be a solid one, and then the other one that has the two corners is going to get rotated this way. So it kind of gives you that look. So it's a 4-patch. We're going to stitch this 4-patch together. And I'm going to switch over to 1/4 of an inch using my standard J-foot. And I'm going to flip this one on top of this one. Okay, the top 2 patches, the seam allowance is going to go to the white, and this one, it's going to go to the left. So I'm going to press those real quick. We're going to lay them back down on top of each other, flip right sides together, use your fork pins if you need to, and then we're going to stitch 1/4 of an inch all the way down here. And the seam allowance is going to go up. It's going to go up to the top, so I'm going to press it this way. Okay, so this is what the block looks like so far. The next thing we're going to do, remember we had a long strip and a short strip. The short strip is going to go across the bottom. And we need to make sure that we are paying attention to where that pink triangle is. Even whether there is a pink triangle, supposed to go to the color that you're using. And then the long strip will go to the left side of the block. Again, this long strip may only have one pink end, or it may have no pink on it. So I'm going to stitch this onto here. I literally stitched this quilt up in about 3 hours on Sunday. It actually sews together really quickly once you get going on it. Honestly, the hardest part is keeping track of whether pink triangles should be on a piece or not. And I'll show you the complete layout here in a minute, and then you'll understand why. So now I've got this at the bottom. I'm now going to put my other side border on this side. And then this is going to get pressed to the strip. Okay, and we end up with our block. So let's take a look at the blocks. So the block I just did is this one right here. And you can see that the white square had a pink. The short strip had the pink in the bottom right. And my long strip had a pink top and bottom. But let's look at it a little bit closer. Because number 1 didn't have any pink on this 5-inch square. But it had a pink in those corners. The red one, fabric number 2, didn't have a pink here, but it doesn't have a pink on the short strip. It only has a pink on both edges on the long strip. This one has a pink in all 4 places. This one right here has a pink in just one corner of the long strip. So can you see why it's so important to make sure that each block matches this diagram and that each block is then positioned in the quilt correctly? Hi Dahlia, nice of you to join us. Glad you're here and welcome. Hopefully you'll learn something new from us all. We have a wonderful group that meets with us. Okay, so each one of those fat quarters will get cut into a heart quilt, and then you'll put a bottom strip and a side strip, but they can vary on the pink corners. So that was the hardest part for me, was to do that. Now I will tell you, Maywood does a really good job of giving you a quilt planning diagram. So if you're using your own fabrics, I would highly recommend that you color this in. Get a grandchild to color it in if you need to, but color it in, because that will tell you which one of your fabrics needs to have the pink corners on and which one doesn't. Okay, so once you have stitched all 13 blocks, the next thing that it does go into is your borders. And basically you have 2 borders. You have a side, so these are your side borders. And does it really matter? It tells you which fabrics to cut it out of, but as long as you cut them the right size, I honestly don't think it would make a whole lot of difference. And then these are your top and bottom borders. On your top and bottom borders, the outer ones, the one on the left and the one on the right, are actually a longer strip than the rest of the ones inside. So let's take a look at my quilt. So when we take a look, can you see this this fabric right here is actually longer than what the rest of the pieces are. The block I just made obviously is that one. So when I position this one in place, that is exactly where it would go in the quilt. Okay, so these are sewn together on diagonal rows, and now you can see why those pink corners are important, because we have pink corners 4 corners meet together to create the little squares. But then there's no pink squares coming down on the side. That's where those strips that don't have any pink on them are going to come into play. So that is the biggest challenge with this quilt. Piecing it is super easy. It's all to do with making sure, because not everything is the same. You can't make all 13 blocks identical because it's not going to lay out correctly. Okay, I do have this kit up on the website. If anybody is interested in the kit, you will have quite a bit of leftover fabric. Other than your binding and your backing, quite honestly, I think you could actually get 2 quilts out of the fat quarters that the directions tell you. Okay, so we're going to go to the next page. Now we've created all of our blocks. We've created our borders. Now we're going to look at putting this together. So to put it together, we are going to be needing our set in triangles. So this isn't, I'm using this one as my example, okay? The first one that you do is actually a different fabric than this one. But basically what's going to happen is that the set in triangle is going to position itself right here. So then we have 2 pink triangles. There'll be another 2 that go here that join up. So when we join these, we want to make sure that we flip this right sides together and we line up the 2 90-degree corners. So this is what we are lining up right here. We are not lining up this edge down there. There's going to be a little bit of a overhang, and that's okay. I pinned, and I know you're going to be surprised to hear me say that, but I really did pin every one of these, because if these don't line up, it's not going to look really good, okay? So I didn't use a clip, although I'm going to use a clip right now because I didn't bring any pins over here. And then I'm going to stitch from this angle. I'm going to stitch from my 90-degree corner. And Paula's so good, she's bringing me over a pin cushion. But I would highly recommend that you pin that join right there. Okay, and when you open this out, it should completely join together. So this is going to be row number 1. This is not going to match up, okay? Yours will. Mine, I'm doing a different block than the first one that they show on theirs, okay? So this is actually going to be the edge of my quilt because the blocks are on the diagonal. So the other corner is going to go on this side. We're going to flip this right sides together. I am going to, and what I do is I pinch it right at the 1/4 of an inch and I see if it's right on. And if I'm happy with it, then I will put a pin in it. And I'm going to stitch this seam. Now in the directions, there was another square that we cut on both diagonals, and that is actually going to be your cornerstones. So once you get your first row stitched together, you would then be able to put your cornerstone onto this unit. Okay, so this would go right here. And then yours wouldn't have this on there, okay? And then you would put a white cornerstone So the cornerstone is a smaller triangle. Make sense? Okay, so you stitch all of your diagonal rows together. Then you're going to put on both side borders, top and bottom. And I used one of the prints for my backing fabric. I did clear blue tiles, and then you're going to bind it. And the binding is the same pink fabric as the little squares. So the binding is the same as the little squares. Okay. Anybody have, don't go away because I still got lots to show you. But does anybody have any questions on that? The directions should be, there should be a link on the calendar so that you can go out to the calendar and get that, okay? Okay, let me show you your bonus little project because this is kind of fun. So I made this quilt, and as you can imagine, I had lots and lots and lots of scraps. They were all in the trash. Every bit of it was in my trash can. And Sunday evening, I am playing on my phone, and an ad comes over for making your own fabric out of scraps. And it caught my attention. And so I watched it. And I'm going to show you the technique that I learned. And here is the project I made out of the scraps that I literally took out of my trash can. These were the scraps that, and I've got enough to make probably 2 more of these, but these were the scraps that I made out of the little corner pieces and straightening up edges. This is what I made out of literally what I took out of my trash can. Okay, so I'm going to turn you back around and I'm going to show you how to do this real quick. And I do have a Fab 5 for you today, and I do have a manager special for you today. Okay, so to do this, you need some type of fusible stabilizer. I'm using SF101. And you literally take your scraps, lay them out in a pleasing way. Now, would I do that? Probably not. I'm very symmetrical. I've even got some little pieces here that are joined together with a seam. You are literally going to lay these out. You do want to make sure they are right side up, okay? So you're just going to lay all of these out until you do not see any, you can even use the salvage, until you do not see any of your fusible fabric. You might have long skinny pieces like that. Just lay it on top. Anyway, you're going to keep going. I'm not going to do it all, but you're going to keep going until all of your fusible is fused. Then you're going to take it to your iron, and you are going to press, not iron. So you want to, and I'm not going to be able to do much on mine because I've got a lot of fusible showing, but you're going to press and hold, lift, whoops, press and hold, lift, press and hold, lift, press and hold, lift, until everything is fused down. Then once it is all fused down, you're going to take a water-soluble stabilizer. You're going to lay it on top, and then you need to quilt this very closely. So when I say that, I mean it can be very small stippling. If you want to do stippling, you absolutely could do that. If you want to do grid lines, you could do that. So here, and I don't know how well you can see mine. Mine is grid lines. I think you can see it. What I did on mine was I moved my needle position all the way to the right and then aligned my stitching, each row of stitching, with the left edge of my foot. So you can make this any size piece of fabric that you want to, Cindy. Okay, so when I did this one at home, this was about 12 by 20. Okay, but I just grabbed a little 10-inch square here to show you the process. So you could do this with a whole 1-yard piece of fabric and create your own fabric. Somebody had suggested to me too, especially with this fabric, because it's the Valentine fabric, you could even then turn this and cut out an applique shape. You could put it through your AccuQuilt Go cutter and cut out shapes. So lots of different options for you, but you basically will grid quilt in both directions about 3/8, no more than 4/8, half an inch distance apart in both directions. Then you will rinse it in the sink. The wash away will disappear. And then you'll end up with a piece of fabric that you can choose to do with whatever you want. And I made mine into a little box zipper pouch. And the only thing that I cut was my lining fabric and my tabs. And I cut those out of some of the remainder fabric out of the fat quarters. So I hope you like that little bonus project there that I showed to you. I did use the zipper by the yard from by Annie, and I also put that up on today's website in case any of you are planning on saving your scraps from this project. Okay, let's go ahead. We are going to do Fab 5. So our Fab 5, apparently USA, America, is celebrating a big birthday this year. And I know a lot of people are doing patriotic quilts and are partaking in some sew-alongs, etc. So we decided to use, this is actually a Kimberbell fabric line from their Star Spangled Banner line, which was their new line they brought out in the summer. And we are going to, this is our Fab 5 for today. So it's 5 half-yard fabrics for $20. I will go show you that fabric, Melinda, yes. And so this is our Fab 5 for today. Okay, before I walk away from this spot, I do have 2 manager specials. Oh, actually,
Do you want the Star Spangled fabric? So I can put them over here, stack them up?
actually, no, they're talking about the sweet shop.
Oh, you're gonna have to walk over.
Yeah, that's too many. Okay, so a lot of you have been asking about my flannel quilt. This is also, I'm kind of into Kimberbell fabrics here recently. This is also Kimberbell's brand new flannel line of fabrics. I am teaching this as a class here in the store in February. I'm also planning on doing it as a live because I've had a few people ask for a live. And I have put together the fabric kit. Now, the fabric kit does require 9 different fabrics. It's 5/8 of a yard of each fabric. And Paula, bless her heart, has cut all of the batting squares for you. We are not charging you for these batting squares. We got donated some batting strips and we are paying it forward and gifting those to you. So anybody that buys the fabric kit for this project will receive at no additional charge the 80 batting blocks that you need to go into this quilt. Okay, so the quilt kit for this is $89.99, and that includes everything you need for the fabric for the top, the back, and the batting that goes in. The in-store Littleton class is going to be on their March calendar, Nora. I'm going to do it here in the Thornton store in February, and then I will bring it down to the Littleton store in March. So, great question. How do I buy? You can buy a couple of different ways. Being you have never probably purchased from us before, probably the best thing to do is give us a call the first time so we can get an account set up, or you can go to our website, and Susan is very kindly putting the link on there. You can go to the website and then you can set up your own account through there, and then all of the products that we're showing today will be posted on there, and you can add to cart and purchase that way. Miss Linda, I think I actually have already made your kit. Okay, so that's those. And the reason I'm showing those before I do the manager special, in cutting those kits, we got to the end of bolt on a few of the flannels. And so this is the Kimberbell flannel is normally $14.49 a yard. And I have this little package here. This is just a little over a yard. It's about 1 1/8 yards, and it's $8. So do sold teal. And I also have sold pink. And both of these are just a little over a yard for $8. If anybody is wanting either of those. And we are in the process of making more of those kits up. So Nancy Rust is the first one to get the teal. And then Linda Wilkie is going to be the first one for the pink. And I will keep the names in the order that they came in, because as I continue making the rest of the kits for the flannel rag quilt, I'm probably going to end up with more. Okay, so somebody asked about showing you the fabric from this line, so I'm going to put this in front of the camera and walk over to the fabric line. Okay, so this is the fabric line for the Sweet Shoppe. Super cute. This is my new favorite fabric right here. Look at the jelly babies. They are so cute. And it actually comes in the white background. It comes in the pale pink background. And I think those are the only two colors that it comes in. But super cute, and I love the cherries. Look at the cherry fabric. And the cherries come in the white background and that aqua background. Super cute. Anyway, and then we have jelly rolls, fat quarters, and layer cakes on those too. So these are not in the computer system by the yard. So if anybody's interested, let me know. But we do have the fat quarter bundle, we do have the jelly rolls, and then we do have the layer cakes in the system. And I think with that, I'm going to switch this back around. I think with that, I am going to let you all go. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And are you asking for a kit for the rag quilt? Is that what you're asking? Paula's going to love it when I ask her to cut more squares.
I'm about to ready.
She says she's ready. Okay, well, thanks everybody, and we will see you all on Monday. And we will speak to you all soon. Thanks everybody. Bye-bye.